We're looking to invoke an AWS Lambda function every hour, similar to a cron job, in a serverless way. Which event source should you use for your AWS Lambda function? A, CloudWatch events, B, Kinesis, C, Amazon S3, D, SQS. The answer is A, CloudWatch events. You can create a Lambda function and direct CloudWatch events to execute it on a regular schedule. You can specify a fixed rate, for example, execute a Lambda function every hour or 15 minutes, or you can specify a cron expression. As part of your video processing application, you are looking to perform a set of repetitive and scheduled tasks asynchronously. Your application is deployed on Elastic Beanstalk. Which Elastic Beanstalk environment should you set up for performing the repetitive tasks? A, set up a worker environment and an EB extensions file. Set up a worker environment and a cron.yaml file. Set up a web server environment and a cron YAML file. Set up a web server environment and a EB extensions file. And the answer is set up a worker environment and a cron YAML file. For a worker environment, you need a cron YAML file to define the cron jobs and do repetitive tasks. Okay. You are creating a web application in which users can follow each other. Some users will be more popular than others, and thus their data will be requested very often. Currently, the user data sits in RDS, and it has been recommended by your developer to use Elastic Cache as a caching layer to improve the read performance. The whole data set of users cannot sit in Elastic Cache without incurring tremendous costs, and therefore you would like to cache only the most often requested users' profiles there. As your website is high traffic, it is accepted to have stale data for users for a while, as long as the stale data is less than a minute old. What caching strategy do you recommend implementing? A, use a write-through strategy with TTL. B, use a lazy loading strategy with TTL. C, use a write-through strategy without TTL. D, use a lazy loading strategy without TTL. All right, B, use a lazy loading strategy with TTL. Lazy loading is a caching strategy that loads data into the cache only when necessary. Whenever your application requests data, it first requests the Elastic cache. If the data exists in the cache and is current, Elastic Cache returns the data to your application. The data doesn't exist in the cache or has expired, your application requests the data from your user store. Your data store then returns the data to your application. Okay. All right. Applications running on EC2 instances process messages from an SQS queue, but sometimes they experience errors due to messages not being processed. To isolate the messages, which option will help with further debugging? A, increase the visibility timeout. B, implement a dead letter queue. C, use delete message. D, reduce the visibility timeout. Implement a dead letter queue. Yep. You are running a web application where users can author blogs and share them with their followers. Most of the workflow is read-based, but when a blog is updated, you would like to ensure that the latest data is served to the users, no stale data. The developer has already suggested using Elastic Cache to cope with the read load but has asked you to implement a caching strategy that complies with the requirements of the site. Which strategy would you use? A, use DAX. B, use a write-through strategy. C, use a lazy loading strategy with TTL. D, use a lazy loading strategy without TTL. Use a write-through strategy. The write-through strategy adds data or updates data in the cache whenever data is written to the database. In a write-through strategy, any new blog or update to the blog will be written to both the data. Oh, very good. Very good. That's it right there. Got it. Okay, one more. A developer has created a new application load balancer, but has not registered any targets with the target groups. Which of the following errors would be generated by the load balancer? Okay. A, HTTP 503 service unavailable, HTTP 502 gateway unavailable, 504 gateway timeout, 500 server error, 503 service unavailable. Yep, unavailable when the target has no registered targets. Okay.